doing other news talk. I just needed to kind of iron out a work schedule and grind schedule to make sure, I could get an episode out a week. So yeah, that's something I'm definitely gonna make sure I do for y'all. I'm gonna make sure I can get this one episode out a week. Like I said, just had to get some things together. But yeah, man. Today's topic. This is a topic I actually discussed on Sunday with BJ from No Filter MMA. Shout out to BJ. Make sure y'all subscribe to No Filter MMA. He wanted to do a live stream with me last Sunday, and I was having some streaming issues, so we jumped on his channel and we just chopped it up over there because he was like, whatever topic you want to speak on, I'll speak on. So I was cool with that. I was like, okay, cool. So we just talked about the bantamweight division over there. So yeah, I just wanted to go back and do an episode here and discuss the bantamweight division. And a couple of the points I wanted to talk about specifically were who deserves a title shot from here? Is the division dead or on a drought? And do we need a star or need some new talent to really shake up the division? Those are the points that I wanted to talk about today. We talked about them over there a little bit, but there's just a few points that, I just kind of want to go back and, touch on here. But yeah, man, before I do that though, last Saturday, we had a few women's MMA fights. I think one of the biggest things was Bellator 248. They held the first MMA card in Paris, France, which I thought was crazy because, about a month ago, I talked to Flora Hani. I did an interview with her, and shout out to Flora because she filled me in on MMA being illegal in Paris, France. And I was just like, man, I can't believe it's illegal. I was like, what? I was like, of all the crazy things that goes on in some of these countries, but MMA is illegal. I just could not believe that. So yeah, I can't remember. She said it just got legalized, and I think it was like maybe January or February of this year. But yeah, it just got legalized, and they just held a card, last week, and we had one women's fight on the card, Lucy Bertad versus Magai Burchell. Lucy Bertad, pretty much dominant win for her. She just really kept this on the ground against Magai Burchell, just nullified Burchell her striking game by taking it to the ground. Uh, Magai Burchell, she was a more experienced fighter. She was like 10-4 going into the fight, but she really struggled in this fight. She really couldn't make no adjustments to using her takedown defense or using her jab. Lucy Bertad just was the physically stronger fighter, just out grappled her, just used her ground and pound and just was pretty much more dominant. But yeah, it wasn't like a really big explosive win, but it was definitely a milestone for Lucy Bertad, scoring uh, her first victory on the first MMA card in Paris, France. So that's big. But yeah, man, moving on. Also, last Saturday we had the bantamweight fight between Tracy Cortez and Stephanie Egger. This was Stephanie Egger, her bantamweight debut, and after watching Egger in that debut, I feel like she was still green in a lot of departments, and I was just thinking to myself that this is going to be a rough road for her. We're going to be talking about the bantamweight division today, but the trouble she had with Tracy Cortez, I could still see a lot of bantamweights, giving Stephanie Egger work, because Tracy Cortez, right from the jump, she just went in there and made this a grapple fest. She dominated on the ground. She didn't want to get in any striking battles, so she just worked the clinch, kept the fight on the ground, and just really could read Stephanie Egger's body language. Every move Stephanie Egger tried to make as far as trying to get off the ground, Tracy Egger just had one step. Tracy Cortez just had one step ahead of her, on the ground. She was just really dominating, But even for Tracy Cortez, I want to see more from her because I know she's fought at flyweight. She's been fighting at 135, I think, a couple times now, maybe once or twice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but even her moving forward in the bantamweight division, I'd like to see Tracy Cortez maybe fight like a Sajara Eubank, or let me see who else is out there that she could fight like off top. Patty Kanzan, Julia Avila. Yeah, any of those fights, they would be interesting fights for Tracy Cortez. She's trying to move up the ladder. But yeah, man, like I said, that was some big news. The first card in Paris, France, and bantamweight debut for Stephanie Egger. Like I said, rough road for her coming up if she gets, if she doesn't improve on her takedown defense and her ground game. But yeah, man, speaking of the bantamweight division, Yeah, I just want to go back and, like I said, speak on some topics in the bantamweight division because I feel like, you know, the bantamweight division right now is a division that's, I feel like a lot of UFC fans, they're kind of losing their interest in. And, it's no knock to Amanda Nunes. I just feel like, since she's been the reigning champion, we just kind of be getting the same old story. She's reigning champion. She continues to hold the spot. I know that we've had some solid bantamweight fights 2 weeks ago. The usual top contenders are up for a title shot. Holly Holm, she dominated Irene Aldana in a 5-round decision. Then you got GDR, who submitted Juliana Pena in the 3rd round in a very shocking performance. Wasn't dominant, but it was shocking and competitive. Both were good fights. I feel like GDR, versus Pena was the better fight. I think it was a more impressive fight. But with these couple of wins here, it kind of gives the fans the same old story. Amanda Nunes having to pick either a rematch with Holly or with Jermaine, or Holly and Jermaine fighting each other in a rematch for a title eliminator. So with fights like those, it kind of leaves the bantamweight division at a plateau. Like I said, not again, no knock to Amanda Nunes because she's a number one. She is the champion, but the rest of the division is kind of left at a plateau or almost on the downside, if you will. Because again, out of Holly Holm and GDR, who can we really say has improved enough to beat Amanda Nunes after a dominant Irene Aldana win and a submission over Juliana Pena? I know there's always a chance in MMA, but that's still the question at this point, right? Who really deserves a title shot? Who's really going to be a threat for the title now after those performances? I mean, in the technical standpoint, going off the wins 2 weeks ago, it really is going to be between Holly and GDR, right? But between the two of them, we've already seen them in title opportunities, or like maybe 5, 6, 7 times now between the two of them. We've already seen the outcome with Jermaine Randamie against Amanda Nunes for the title once, but she's lost to Amanda 2 times now. And then you got Holly Holm, who didn't even last 1 round with Amanda Nunes, right? So how much can we say has improved after fighting them back to back for Amanda Nunes? So I think at this point there should just be a time whenever Amanda Nunes could do a little cherry picking in the top 10. That's only right, because I feel like, she's cleaned out the division, aside from a few names. So I feel like she should be able to pick another fighter in the division as long as it's a top 10 fighter. As long as somebody maybe 4, 5, 6, or 7, she should fight him. I didn't name number 3 because right now, Aspen Ladd, she's actually, out because of her knee surgery. So, that leaves her out. But other than that, there are a couple of other fighters that Nunes hasn't faced that would probably be a little bit more interesting than seeing Holly in there again, right? I mean, I like Holly Holm. I like her as a person, but I really can say that I wanted Irene to win that fight just to kind of give the division a different look. I went with Holly all the way as far as to win the fight because I knew she had the skill set, but deep down I wanted Irene to, kind of pull out that upset because I wanted to see something different happen. I wanted to see something different because, like I said, Holly's already been there with Amanda Nunes, and we've already seen that before. But with Holly, holding on to that number 2 spot, we can't really knock her, right? Because I mean, she continues to do that. So, this might be one of those things where we just kind of have to ride this Holly Holm thing out until she retires. And GDR on the other hand, she looked impressive in her fight against Juliana Pena. All credit goes to her for that win, her first submission victory. But at the same time, we got to say, okay, come on. This will be a 3rd fight with Amanda Nunes, who you're 0-2 against. Do you really think you can pull this off? And do you really think a lot of people want to see this? Now, as we speak, I'm uploading a video right now where Jermaine Randamie said she would retire if she loses the 3rd fight to Nunes. So, I'm uploading that right now. But I just think that GDR herself, she hasn't improved enough to make us say she can beat her. She said in another article where she felt that she exposed Amanda Nunes, in that second fight. I'm like, really? You got dominated for 5 rounds on the ground. How do you feel like you could just, be this fighter that just went in there and exposed her? On top of that, there was a couple points where she did rock Amanda Nunes, but Amanda Nunes just turned up the strength. She turned up her ground game. She turned it up and just dominated her. So there's really no point in that fight where I feel like she exposed Amanda Nunes. And also, again, I say Jermaine de Randamie versus Pena was an impressive fight, but I hate for her to get that false confidence that submission victory, your very first submission victory, is enough to make a couple of changes and a couple of adjustments to a Nunes fight. No, man, like in no way did that win over Pena make me say, okay, you can beat Nunes now. So there has to be a time whenever these number one contenders realize that maybe we did give it our all for this title, and maybe we just can't beat this person. I mean, it is good. It is good to think that they're in that. It is good that they're in that mindset of never give up, or I can do this, I can do this. But there is other options out there for somebody like GDR. I mean, if she doesn't want to retire and she still loves the sport, like she said, then go back to 145 at Bellator. There's a challenge over there that you didn't take. There's a challenge in Chris Cyborg that could redeem your rep. Because I always say GDR, she's a hell of a fighter, but there's still that dark cloud overhead where she avoided the Chris Cyborg fight. Shit, Amanda Nunes, she took that task. She beat Chris Cyborg in 1 round. So who's to say you couldn't do the same? Or who's to say you couldn't compete on that level and take that challenge? You didn't push yourself to that. You didn't push yourself to that realm and take that challenge. So that's still out there for you. You're 0-2 with Amanda Nunes. That's one challenge you couldn't beat. Go ahead and go try something different. Go over to Bellator in the featherweight division over there and try to take on Chris Cyborg. Because when it comes to a title shot between Holm and GDR over here in the UFC, honestly, I really don't want to see either right now, because I think Nunes has already done it. Again, I like Holly a lot, but if she gets it, then so be it. But me personally, I don't think she's changed enough or made enough adjustments in camp to beat somebody like Amanda Nunes. I honestly think, like, moving forward from here, like, who deserves a title shot, it's kind of up in the air. So I think fighters like Ketlen Vieira, they need to get a solid win under their belt to make us even think that. So maybe Ketlen Vieira versus Holly Holm or GDR. Throw Yana Kind of Sky in there. Holly Holm versus Yana Kind of Sky. That would be interesting. So let them kind of fight it out one more time with somebody, and then give that person the title shot. But other than that, like I said, it's really hard for me to say Holm or GDR, is really deserving of another title shot right away, because even though they hold on to that number one or number two spot, that's almost like default, just because they're better than everybody else. It's still not enough to say I am ready for Nunes and I made improvements to rematch Nunes. So let me know in the comment section who y'all think who could be that threat, or who do you think deserves a title shot, Holm or GDR? Like, if you had to pick, who do you think? I can't pick. But yeah, man. Next question I had, next point I wanted to discuss with y'all. Is the bantamweight division dead or on a drought? Let me see. I know a lot of casual fans, a lot of people I've talked to, they automatically said the bantamweight division is dead to them. But me being a hardcore fan and an analyst of women's MMA, I definitely have to say that the division is on a drought. I can't say that it's dead, because you still have a lot of talent. You still have a lot of veterans in there that put on entertaining fights that'll still catch your eye every now and then. Of course, it's not like thriving like it was whenever Ronda Rousey was the champion, which I'll get to in a minute. I want to make a point on that, but I feel like right now you have a lot of fighters who fought each other and have peaked, and some of these fighters are at the ranking that they're going to stay at. So it's not fully dead, but it's still there where they can put on entertaining fights to, still catch your eye, but not really answer the question as far as who's deserving of a title shot. So that's what kind of leaves it on a drought. I think another reason that it's on a dry spell is because, Amanda Nunes is the champion, and of course that's no knock to her. I think she's better than Rousey in a lot of ways, but I think that I think when the division was dominated in a Rousey fashion, it was because, in a fan standpoint, she had that love me or hate me energy. So that kind of puts a lot of spotlight on the division from the fans. They're all coming in, they're all putting butts in seats. They're putting their butts in seats to see Ronda Rousey either win or lose. I was never a Rousey fan. I was watching the bantamweight division in women's MMA, even before she was like really champion. But whenever she was champion, I was actually watching her to see who could upset her. At the times I wanted to see who could make that adjustment and beat her. So she definitely had a personality to keep the division lit up, to keep it thriving and keep people intrigued. Again, like Amanda Nunes is definitely one of the greatest of all time, but I just feel like she doesn't have that casual fans appeal because people don't really hate her, which sucks. You know what I mean? Like when you want to be famous, people have to love you or hate you, which that's why I say maybe she doesn't want fame. I'm not a person that wants fame either, as long as you got the money, that's cool, right? So I feel like Amanda Nunes, she probably likes the position she's in, where she's making money and she's champion, which, like I said, that's cool with me. Not everybody wants the fame. You see what it does to them. You see what it did to Rousey, so it's going to be on a drought like that when you have a champion that just likes to be the fighter, and they just want to be the champion and they just want to fight for them and the money. They don't want to, play up to the fans. So that's one reason why it's on a drought, and I'll say this too. As of lately, probably of the past 2 years now, I think the division is on a drought too, is because Nunes is juggling two divisions, and she's juggling the featherweight division and the bantamweight division. So it's like she's dating two people, and when you're dating two people, one of them is not going to be getting enough attention. And if one of them is not getting enough attention, then one relationship is not going to thrive. One's not going to grow. So Amanda Nunes, 1 minute she's a bantamweight, then 6 months later she's a featherweight. 6 months later she's a bantamweight. So more and more you jump back and forth, one of them is going to be ignored. One of them is going to be ignored, and it's going to kind of just lose its magic, and it's going to kind of die out until something else comes along and makes that division grow. Which, I've never dated two people at once. I'm not into that drama, but, I know a lot of people who have, and I've kind of seen the results of that. Whenever they do that, somebody's going to get neglected, and, something else is going to come along and take over, or it might just die out, and that's kind of what happens with Amanda Nunes juggling two divisions. Like she's dominant, right? She's defending in both divisions, right? But there's too much space in between. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a point where she needs to go ahead and vacate, either that or retire at this point, because as long as she's, doing both divisions, there's always going to be that long turnaround time for her in a division where one division gets neglected, so she has to kind of make that choice, put one full potential into one. So when she finally decides to dump that side one and jump back into her main, which may be the bantamweight division, and she says, okay, this is who I love, this is who I want to be with, let's grow, then I feel like the division could, start reaching a point where she starts having rivals and potential threats again, because she's fighting on an active basis. She's putting it all back into that division. You know what I mean? So I think it would take something like that to really take it out of the drought or the dry spell right now. But with her almost out the door, it might just be, it might just stay where it is right now. So with that being said, like I said, the division is already made up of fighters that Nunes, Rousey, and Holm already beat. So from here, I think it's just going to kind of take for her to retire at this point. So with that being said, the last point I wanted to ask y'all, does the bantamweight division need a new star, or does it just need new talent right now to shake it up? Well, I think right now, like I said, I'm going to kind of be repeating myself on, some of the other points I made, but right now I think that we're in a division where almost everybody's fought everybody. Just about every match has been made that could have been made. Amanda Nunes has cleaned it out. We have a lot of ladies who already fought to their full potential. So, we have a lot of ladies who have peaked. So I think that, yeah, we do kind of need not necessarily like a star right off top, but we do need like a new face. We need a new face that has the goods and the talent, because like I said before, there's only so many times that we can see Holly Holm or GDR just hold down their spots and fight Amanda Nunes over and over and over again, even if they feel like they deserve it. Even if they're like too stubborn to retire and, like fighters want to keep fighting into their 40s, there still comes a time where, hey, we eventually need to say, hey, Dana White or the matchmakers need to say, okay, they can beat everyone else, but they can't beat the champion after 2 or 3 fights. Maybe this ain't meant to be. You know what I mean? Because I said this on my video coming out too. Like, it's like guys I knew who might continue to take the same college course over and over again. They might not only fail it not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5 times, but they take that thing like 6 times, and man, they just continue to fail, and they just don't get the point that that's something they don't need to be doing. That maybe it's not for them, but they continue to do it, and they're given that privilege just to keep on taking it over and over, and it kind of holds them back. It kind of not only holds them back, but it kind of holds back the growth of moving forward. You know what I mean? So as long as you continue to keep having Nunes and GDR fight over and over and over again, if that's going to be the thing, then the division will never grow. So you do kind of need new talent to kind of make that transition, to kind of make that transition in there so subtly, and just kind of push them out the door. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be a point where, people realize, hey, we've been here too many times now. So I think it would be nice to have a new face or a star, but sometime divisions, they do kind of have to run their course where fighters stay until they had enough or get cut or they're retired. You know what I mean? So it's going to be either those 3 things at some point, where Dana maybe signs like somebody from the Contender Series, which I'm going to talk about again in a minute here. But there's going to be a point where, somebody comes along from like Bellator or Invicta, and they send somebody packing. They move them up to like number 3 or 4, and they have them fight GDR or Holly Holm, and then they're the new talent that has to push them out the door. So that's where your new talent has to come in, and make that help make that transition. But like I said, there are points whenever divisions just run their course where fighters just stay, and we just have to deal with it, because sometimes there's not that talent that's being pushed fast enough in, and let me see. It's almost like, if y'all don't watch boxing, but I'm gonna give you this boxing example. It's similar to like 2005 in the heavyweight division when Vladimir Klitschko, he was just like the dominant champion. He was just too good. He was just better than all the level of competition he was facing. A lot of the guys that he were facing, there were a lot of average heavyweights at the same time. Some of the heavyweights were from the Lennox Lewis era where they were almost out the door. So he was just in a time where the division wasn't that exciting because there was no new talent in there right now. The new talent was still being groomed and being worked on. Like by the time the new talent got there that had some spark of life, they kind of pushed him out the door, like the Anthony Joshua's and the Tyson Furies, so it was a long process. It definitely seemed like a long process because like there was the longest time when the heavyweight division was dead. I mean, or considered dead, so even while I was watching it to that point, there was just so many heavyweights where we were just like, it was going back and forth. Like we could not find out who was going to be the best guy. Like Klitschko was good, but it was just like he was good for the era he was in. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of people were thinking. So hopefully the bantamweight division doesn't go on this type of drought where it's just like we have nothing going on, where you have to let it run like a 5-6 year 5, 6, 7, 8 year course. I hope that doesn't happen, but really it doesn't have to, man, because there's so many other organizations out there, and there's so many women in the bantamweight division and other organizations that want to fight right now, you know. And I think that's, like I said, going back to the Contender Series where Dana White messed up. You know, Dana White had a perfectly good talent that he did not capitalize on in Tanisha Tennant. You know, he could have gave her a spot right off top just by signing her after winning the Invicta Phoenix series. You know, if he would have went on and signed her straight away, that would have been cool. If he would have put her in there with the bantamweight in the Contender Series, that would have been cool. But instead, he wastes her talent by putting her in there with a hype job he's trying to build up, an 0-0 hype job. So the 0-0 hype job winds up not looking that good and almost winds up getting exposed. So he kind of like messed up two. He almost messed up two opportunities there, you know. So with Tanisha Tennant now, like she's probably gonna have to go back to Invicta, you know, rack up some more wins before Dana White actually realizes that I needed her, you know, which is why a lot of fans are getting pissed right now too, because you know there's a lot of people that feel like Tanisha Tennant won that fight and they feel like she's a great talent. You know, I'm not the only one that feels like, you know, she could really shake up the bantamweight division, but it's really going to take some new talent, and it's going to take some open eyes and an open mind like Dana White, because he just kind of wasted that moment. Like if he's feeling like the bantamweight division is good right now, then he's not really looking. You know, he's definitely not looking, because he messed up on a time where he could have had Tanisha Tennant transition into the bantamweight division and shake things up. You know, because we really need some new faces right now. We need some new faces to bring back the casual fans. You know, and again, it is losing its luster. I know Tracy Cortez scored a win last week, but we need more faces. You know, we need more faces. We need more legit bantamweights, not just fighters squeezing down from featherweight. You know, we need some actually good talent, though. You know, don't just bring in anybody. You know, you need some fighters. You know, no hype jobs, but actual fighters who want to compete. And you know, Tanisha Tennant to me was that fighter that, you know, could have shaken up the bantamweight division. So, yeah, man. Again, yeah. Overall, with that question, like I said, does it need a new star or new talent? Um, a mixture of both. You know, it would be nice to have a new star to actually like make the division rise again, but you definitely need new talent to really make people start looking at the division and kind of push out your older fighters and start giving us something new. Definitely, man. But real quick, yeah, let's look at the let's go ahead and look at the UFC bantamweight rankings right now and kind of give y'all an idea what we're working with, because just want to read off some names in the top 15 to kind of give y'all an idea who we still have in the bantamweight division, and maybe y'all let me know in the comment section y'all feel like should be out the door from here. But because yeah, when you look at the division, like I said, there's a lot of good ladies here, but there's some names that, you know, we feel like can't get any higher than that now. Let's see, number 15, you got Julia Avila, definitely a rising talent. You know, she recently lost to Sajara Eubank, but I still, you know, feel like she's definitely going to be a fighter that grows. You know, I've seen her fight in the past. She's not only a beast, but she is smart. She's willing to learn and grow. So she's definitely a fighter that, you know, we can put some hope into to help build the division. Number 14, we got Patty Kansan. You know, Patty Kansan, she's been in MMA for a while now, so you know, still kind of a question mark by her. 13, Sajara Eubank. You know, Sajara Eubank, I've talked about her in other videos. You know, I just feel like she really needs to level up, because she's another fighter with great talent, great chin, very strong. You know, there's just times when she needs to really commit. You know, especially like in the Ketlin Vieira fight. Like there was just a time whenever I did not see her trying to use the IQ that she has. You know, so Sajara, there's a question mark by her. You know, I think she should have been in the top 10 in my opinion. Um, Number 12, Macy Chiasson. You know, I think she's kind of flat at bantamweight. I think she needs to be a featherweight. Number 11, Lena Landsberg. You know, Lena Landsberg, another veteran. You know, she has a win over Macy Chiasson. You know, still kind of question mark about where she stands. Number 10, Marion Renault. You know, she's an older fighter. You know, she's been around a while too. Number 9, Sarah McMahon. She's been out on injuries. Number 8, Yana Kunitskaya. Yana Kunitskaya is another fighter, kind of like a higher ranked Sijara Eubank, where I feel like, she still needs to make a lot of improvements, where she needs to really build her IQ. She lost to Aspen Ladd in a fight I thought she could have won. Number 7, Ketlin Vieira. She was another promising fighter that, inactivity kind of throwing her momentum off. She was out for almost 2 years, came back, lost to Irene Aldana. Now she bounced back with the win over Sijara Eubank. So she's just kind of holding on to that number 7 spot right now. She still needs some solid wins to push her to a title shot. Number 6, Juliana Pena. Competitive fight with GDR, but I feel like she kind of let her heart get the best of her. Sometimes she just makes those simple mistakes, like she did in the Valentina Shevchenko fight. That'll cost you, that'll cost you a fight. Still a good grappler, good strong fighter. I'd like to see her in a rematch with GDR or fight Irene Aldana. Number 5, Irene Aldana. Still got a lot of work to do. That Holly Holm fight just kind of exposed a lot of her boxing skill as far as being able to cut the ring off. So let's see. Number 4, Raquel Pennington. Fought Holly Holm twice, lost to Holly Holm twice. Amanda Nunes, she brutally got beat down by Amanda Nunes. But she continues to hold on to that number 4 spot because she can just outwork some of these other fighters with some just a little bit of just a little teeny bit of veteran skills here and there. Like she was able to beat Irene Aldana, which I thought Irene Aldana would have beat Raquel Pennington at some point, but again, that's just levels to it. Number 3, we have Aspen Ladd. I don't know how long she's gonna hold on to that number 3 spot because she did. Let me see. She did lose to Jermaine Randamie, and she's out on knee surgery, so I don't know how long she's going to be out. So how long she can hold on to that spot, I don't know. She doesn't really deserve to be number 3. I guess she does. She beat Yana Kunitskaya, controversial win over Sijara Eubank. I still need to see more from her. Because she is one of the new talents in here too that could kind of shake up the division. Who else? Oh, here we go. Scroll out. Number 2, of course, we have Holly Holm holding on to the number 2 spot, and number 1 is GDR. So more than likely, one of them is going to get a title shot again, unless Amanda Nunes gets the choice to fight, below the number 1 and number 2 spot, which I think she should be able to. Like, out of all these fighters, if Amanda Nunes does come back to defend the title, can't be Aspen Ladd, like I said. Don't want to see Rocky. Already done that. Can't be Irene. Can't be Juliana Pena. Maybe like a Ketlin Vieira or Yana Kunitskaya if they were to fight each other, for like a title eliminator. So yeah, that's the division that we're working with right now. So yeah, y'all let me know in the comment section. Who do y'all think is really going to shake up the division at this point? Like, like fighters like Julia Avila or, like Aspen Ladd. Do you think they can like carry the division on their back? Or do we need more talent? Who do you want to see retire from here? I got a few names in mind. I'm just not really, going to go into all that right now. But let me know, guys, who y'all think should retire from here. And, what do you think's become of the Bantamweight division from here? But yeah, that's all I got on this, guys. Yeah, I just want to go back and kind of discuss that with y'all. It's one of the more divisions where at a time it was thriving when Ronda Rousey was in there, but it's just been kind of losing its luster amongst the casual fans. So, that was one division I just wanted to revisit and kind of talk about it and what needs to be done with it. What these matchmakers need to really do to get this thing going again. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Again, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Answer some of those questions I have for y'all. And also, if there's any topics y'all want me to discuss, leave the topic in the comment section, and I'll do it for the next show. And I also give y'all a shout out for it. I'll give y'all a shout out if y'all just throw a topic in the comment section. I kind of go in on it. If it's something y'all want me to talk about, I'll do that. Yeah, but man, other than that, that's all I got for tonight, man. Make sure y'all subscribe. I'll leave all the information here. Like always, just subscribe on my YouTube channel, Also, CB99 Talks is coming soon. And so follow me on Instagram, you know, at Combo Breaker 99 and at All Box and everything. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for the new subscribers. Keep on listening. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.